What's good, y'all, and welcome to my review for this week's episode of Attack on Titan. And holy fuck! This episode, man, once again was absolute. Okay, let's go a little bit further. This was a less crazy episode than last week with Reiner and everything. But yo, fucking Eren talking with his grandfather, man, yo. That, I'm sure none of us saw coming, and that was probably the highlight of the episode. And also, we find out that Falco also has some balls. But anyway, man, and yo, that next episode preview, though, which apparently, I literally tweeted out, like 5 minutes ago or whatever, I tweeted out, like, this is me after watching the episode. It's at, like, the opening of Some Call Me Johnny's review, Shadow the Hedgehog, where he's just laying it on like his futon or whatever, just like, dead, you know? And then plus says, oh, we gotta wait 2 weeks for the next episode. I don't know if that's because of the holidays and everything. Maybe. I don't know if that is fine, but yo, 2 weeks after you drop that bombshell and the next one is Eren and Reiner? Like, fam, come on now. You really gonna leave us hanging like that? If that is indeed the case, I don't know for sure. But, yo. Yo. Anyway, man, enough without further ado, let's just jump right into this episode. Also, guys, you guys may have noticed the mic sounds a lot better than it has for a while. Now, that's because I actually found out in the settings on my PS4 that I can raise the mic audio. And I did. I literally just discovered, so no longer must I shout. More like shout into the mic to make sure it's heard, or raise the audio of the mic in post after I'm done recording everything. I can now just talk and not have to worry about it. So, well, still kind of annoying I have to hold the cable, but hey, whatever. At least now the mic sounds better and you guys can hear it, and you guys can hear it a lot better than before. Anyway, we start this episode off. We got actually Reiner. He met up with Falco, and he's asking him like, "Oh, dude, what are you doing? What are you going out at this hour?" And he says, "Oh, I forgot something. I'll be right back." You know, he had to go and get it, so he's running off there, and then we get this like flashback, I guess, of Falco meeting up with Eren, and Eren like hands him his letter, tells him like, like, can you do me a favor and mail this letter and put it in one of the mailboxes outside the internment zone, because if they do, they'll check the contents on it and they'll find out that Eren is faking his amnesia. So of course Falcon's like, yeah, sure. So he runs over there. He runs to one of the mailboxes outside the internment zone. And Eren also says that it says that his family's okay, which makes me kind of curious on what's in that letter, because there's no way Eren is the only one that's in Marley right now. If the man is sending a letter, no way is it going all the way to Paradise or whatever the fuck it's pronounced. No way there's actually going there. So I waged that that Mikasa, Armin, Levi, and the others are all chilling somewhere in Marley, hidden. They're probably chilling, staking out the place while Eren's out here doing all the field work, scoping out the area, keeping tabs on Reiner. Eren's probably doing all the heavy lifting while everyone else is working in the shadows. That's what I would assume anyway. So after he mails in the letter, we then cut over to the leader of the commander of the warrior operations. I was slipping on the man's title for a minute there, and so it basically tells him that Tybur family is in town, and they're ready to meet. He's like, oh shit, really? So he gets over to where where they're supposed to meet. There's a shit ton of guards outside the room. They're on the two sides of the wall, but next to the door. But they're just filled with soldiers. I bet there's at least like 10 of them guys. So then another soldier kind of like opens the door and he tells them to come in. They get in there. They meet their acquaintance with the leader of the Tybur family. So from there, he tells them, meet the rest of his family, where they're all like old as shit outside of the kids. And so from there, they head outside. Once they're outside, they're kind of like talking. They just kind of like, discuss some things. Like he says that, oh, I came out here to see the Helios, I think it's what it's called, the Helios statue, which is actually like a statue of a soldier, like piercing like the spear through, I guess, like a titan's mouth. And he goes in there about that lone soldier, a mere human, was able to conquer this demon. It is the personification of Marley's spirit. And then the commander goes on about, that Marleyans only know of war through the paper, and so for them, like, they don't, so they have it easy. They don't, and to them, like, if they can live with I think he said, like, they can live with it if it's just, demons that are the only ones taking the bullets, or people from a dead country. And he mentions that, even the mention of the draft is enough to spook them enough. But it's not going to stop them from constantly throwing their country into wars until it implodes. And he says that if there is someone that's working behind the scenes, because, I believe in the last episode they mentioned that the Tiberius family is probably the one that are controlling, the Marley and everything. I think they mentioned something like that either in last week's episode or the episode before that. Anyway, so, and he says that if anyone thinks that they can pull the strings, pull the strings or whatever, behind the scenes, he has some words for them. It's too late. And so the dude from the the guy with the blonde hair from the Tibur family, it's like, haha, Commander, you're merciless. But yes, you are right. Marley is indeed controlled by the Tibur family. So then after that, he basically says, that we gave back Marley its power and freedom as an atonement, because the Eldians and everything. Because the dude's also, because his family has Eldian blood in them, because they have the Warhammer Titan, which actually, right as they went outside, the dude asked the commander, like, what if he had any guess on who the War Titan was among them. He says, like, I don't know, but he said, but it is among us. So, I don't know who the Warhammer Titan is. I don't even really care at this moment, so I'm not going to theorize or anything like, oh, it's that old hag, or oh, it's one of the kids or some shit. Nah. But anyway, so he asked them that, after the festival is over, he's going to make this big speech and he wants them to be a part of it and join him. And, they shake hands. So then after that, we then head over back with Reiner. He's with one of these like commanders or whatever, and he's basically trying to discuss on how they're going to get into Paradise. Paradise or whatever, Paradise. And so he's like kind of like saying like, oh, we should go from the north. And he's saying like, that you have a good chance going to the north. And the commander's like, oh, so we should go to the north. He's like, it's an option. I mean, but we only have one of our largest ship that we can port over there. So yeah. And he says, so you're saying we should go from the south? No, we lost one of our ships from the south. So they'll most likely be there. And they might destroy it. So, and then he's like, so what the hell are you trying to tell me? I just wanted to give you the information based on what you referenced. He's like, fine, you can step down. I should have known better to let an Eldian speak. So, before we jump right in here and we get to Gabby and Falco and this man finally growing, and this man has finally dropped, his balls have finally dropped in this one moment. Before we get there, we see Porco. He's like legit walking up the stairs, minding his own business, young, and then at the top of the stairs, there's fucking Peak out there sitting on like just crawling on all fours, and the dude's like, what the fuck? And so he's like, oh, hey, Porky. Oh, did I scare you? And he's like, and he's just like, what? And he's like asking like, why are you walking like that? He's like, oh, walking like this just feels right, because she's the Titan that has that, like, she's like the Duck Titan or whatever. And he just says, please walk up, please stand up and walk like a normal human. Yeah, because even I was kind of freaked out, like, what the fuck, woman? Like, get on your legs, god damn it. So anyway, then we see Porco. He's like going on, like, oh man, I can't wait to see what they have in store for us. They're seeing their impressive intellect. He's just being like a sarcastic asshole throughout this whole time. And so then, as he's going on, like, I can't wait to see how this operation's gonna go down and everything. And then Peak mentions that, yeah, like entrusting the entire operation to 4 kids. And so then we see Sophia, I think the kid with the glasses is. I'm legit slipping on the kid's name. And Falco, and of course Gabby. So they're all just running over there with their gear and everything. Gabby's, of course, a decent way ahead of them. But Falco, during the last stretch, this man gets a nice boost and manages to pass her and win the race at the very last second. And so you got Sophia and Four Eyes. They're all celebrating with him. They're all happy. And then you got fucking Porco being like, yada yada yada. At least think about how we feel, or whatever. And so and I think it was actually Peak that mentions that, even though, no matter how much Falco improves, Gabby still has the edge, still has the advantage. I think it might have actually been his Falco's brother that said that, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so then afterwards that we go back to Falco and everyone there kind of just walking back over to the internment camp. And, when the security guys that are over there are like, oh, what are y'all so happy about? And then they tell them that, Falco managed to beat Gabby. And they're like, oh, what, in grades? And he said, no, it was in a race. And I think it was Four Eyes mentioned that this was the comeback of the century. Fam, calm down now. Y'all in the 2016 Cavs. Let's not kid ourselves here. But, anyway. So anyway, after that, then Gabby just I guess knocks right into him and just goes on no matter what you do, you will never beat me, you will not get the armor titan. And she's just going on and on and on this means nothing or whatever. She's obviously pissed off and salty that she lost. And so Falco just says, and then Falco says they haven't announced who the armor titan is yet, so until then I'll do what I have to do. And he just walks off like a badass. And one of the guards actually mentioned, damn, he's really trying to look cool. And so then Gabby is just enraged, just be like, why do you care? Your brother's getting the beast titan, so you'll be honorary Eldians anyway, so why do you care? And then my man legit stops in his tracks. I didn't even think he was actually going to say it. I thought he was just going to stand there, we would get a zoom in on Gabby's face, which we did, and then he would probably just walk off. Without saying a word, but no, my man is he turns around, faces her, and says, and he screams out to the high heavens, because I care about you. And I think it was Sophia was like, oh shit, oh boy, oh boy. And then one of the guards oh shit, he actually said it, And so they're all just kind of just waiting on Gabby. Time has stopped. Time has stood still in this very moment, ladies and gentlemen, waiting for Gabby's response. And this woman pulls a Naruto. She's just huh? You're getting in my way because you care about me? What does that even mean? And Falco just starts running off. And everyone is just face palming and the guards are she doesn't even get it. Legit, I think it was Four Eyes and Four Eyes was legit face palming, and Sophia was just keeping her head down, just being SMH. She legit pulls a Naruto and is denser than a fucking brick wall. Legit, that was pretty funny. It was more shocking to see Falco actually admit he has a thing for Gabby than Gabby just not understanding what the hell he meant. Which makes me kind of curious if they're actually going to go full on with that. And maybe they'll have to spell it out for her, and then she realizes that Falco has a thing for her, and then maybe we'll see them, and then maybe we'll get this moment between them or something. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna lead anywhere. We're gonna get the big climactic, fucking reveal when fucking Falco truly confesses his feelings to Gabby, or this is a one and done sort of thing. They'll mention it here and then it'll be dropped for the rest of the season outside of him desperately trying to get the armor titan so she can live a healthier life. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if they actually end up together or anything of that sort. But anyway, after all of that, we then head over to this area in the internment camp where they're building up this stage for the leader of the Willie, the leader of the Tiberius family, to make his announcement and everything. Actually, right before that, I got to talk about this one scene. So they're back into the internment zone. You got Gabby and the other two are with her, and so then this one dude, this big fat dude, comes in there, wraps his arm around Gabby's shoulder, who he thinks is Gabby. He's like, "Oh, Gabby, you're a hero," and this, that, and the third. And then we pan up, and we find out the dude has his arm around Sophia, and she's like, "No, I'm Sophia." And then this other woman kind of grabs him off her and she's like, "Look at you, you're so drunk, you're over here grabbing little girls in broad daylight." I'm like, you're making it sound way worse than it actually is. So, anyway, and then the dude just legit calls her a walking corpse. Savage as hell. And so then the dude tells him to just go back to his mother, and he does so. And then he apologizes to the kids, and then gives them this shit ton of bread, and tells them that you need to eat a lot of food to get big and strong like Officer Braun. I'm like, oh, you ignorant fool, woman. It's gonna take a lot more than some fucking bread for them to get fucking Reiner. Did you know did you know the Armor Titan was based off of Brock fucking Lesnar? Yeah, it's gonna take more than that, my guy. It'll take more than some bread. But Anyway, back to where we were. So we got Gabby, Sophia. We're back with Gabby, Sophia, and Four Eyes. They're all kind of talking about what's going to happen, about what's going to happen. Here are this announcement, and here are the tournament zone and everything. Four Eyes mentions that he's actually mentioned. We have to learn a little bit of information on him, and he mentions that he came from a foreign internment zone, and that life wasn't all that bad there. But however, the way Marleyan's treat us is nothing compared to that. So I guess they were treating them even worse than whatever country he was originally from before he came to Marley. At least that's what it kind of came up from how it was written anyway. So anyway, they're talking. And Gabby goes on like, this is a great opportunity for us to show that we are indeed not demons, this, that, and the third. And so then Gabby grabs Four Eyes' face and pushes her hand up against it to make him smile, and tells him smile, this is our moment to show that we're not demons, this, that, and the third. And so then so they keep going on. He tells Sophia to stop acting so weird, and she's like, I'm not acting. And then he asks Gabby on what she's gonna change. She's like, oh, I'm perfect as I am. And then she starts doing these smile, and she starts to smile a little bit, and it's straight up some horrifying shit. This is some straight up fucking from Future Diary type shit over here, ladies and gentlemen, with those facial expressions you would make. I might actually put them in the thumbnail depending on how things go. Anyway, so she says she's completely fine, everything, and her faces are kind of creepy. And actually, I think it was Four mentions that that they can see the demon in her. And then she does these half clotheslines against both of them and tells them, if you ever praise fucking Falco again, I'll make you regret it. And she's like, yeah, definitely a demon. So then, after that, we then have her back to Falco and Aaron. This is the good shit right here. So Aaron basically said. So Falco tells Aaron that basically he doesn't know if he can if he is going to surpass Gabby or not. But he can move forward with a clear head now. And Aaron tells him that's good. And so then Aaron thanks him for letting him send all those letters and everything. And then we find out that my man Aaron has this baseball mitt with a baseball. And Falco asked him, did his family send that to him? He says, yes. They said I would probably get bored here all day. So then he takes his leave and goes out there as there's this doctor that's coming towards them. Falco takes his leave, and the dude asks, hey, is anyone sitting here? And he says no. And then he takes a seat. And this is when things get interesting with this episode. So the dude introduces himself as Jaeger. And I was like, oh, Jaeger. And we also find out what Aaron's fake name is here. It's Kruger, I think it was Kruger or Cougar, something along those lines. Which I don't know, what's that name sounds familiar. I don't know if it's just because of Freddy Krueger, but I feel like that name has some significance to the show. If something happened in one of the earlier seasons that has to deal with the name Kruger, tell me in the comments, because I feel like that name holds some significance in the show. I might just be going crazy just thinking of Freddy Krueger. But anyway. So he kind of they take a seat. He introduces himself as Kruger, as Jaeger. And Aaron introduces himself as Kruger, and then they start talking. And we find out some more about Falco's past. That basically his uncle was one of the Eldian restorations, which I'm pretty sure that goes with Jaeger with Grisha and his wife that was royalty and everything. I think they're referring to that whole era when they were trying to find the subjects of Ymir and all that shit back from season 3. So, and that basically that family members were sent to paradise, or paradise, or however the hell it's pronounced. So then their kids, Falco and his brother, wanted to become warriors to protect their family. And now that his brother is indeed confirmed to be the next in line for the Beast Titan, they will become honorary Marleyans, and their family is now in the clear. And so then Aaron looks at this dude like, why are you telling me this? And he straight up tells him, stop asking him to do errands for you. If there ever is some suspicion against him, all the work they've done is in vain. And he tells them, if your mind is healthy, go back to your family. If you lose the opportunity to see them again, you'll regret it for the rest of your life. And still by this point, I kind of jokingly mentioned when we first got this dude's name in my reaction that, I wonder if he's Aaron's distant cousin or something. And then he starts to, and then Aaron asks him, it sounds like you're talking, and he's like, you know, and he says lifelong regret. And that's while we're doing this, you see this doctor, you see like this nurse, like pointing towards them, you know, inside. And I didn't really know what that shot was for, but then we find out, of course, later. So he says lifelong regret. He says, and Aaron tells him, you know, you sound like you're talking about yourself. And he says, I am. And then a day goes by that I don't regret it. And he says, my son took his sister outside the wall, and then we just get this shot of 3 dogs. At this point, I'm sure I was not the only one that instantly knew who this guy was. It's fucking Aaron's grandfather, Grisha's dad. When this moment happened, I was just like, y'all will see the shock. I was like, oh shit, it's him. And this is when I got really interested, really invested in this episode, because I wanted to see how Aaron was going to talk to his grandfather, how his grandfather was going to talk to his grandson. Even though probably neither of these two know who each other is, really. Like, I doubt this dude knows that that's Aaron, his grandson, and I doubt that Aaron knows that that's his grandfather. Problem is, I do not either of them know who really each other is, so it's only for us, the audience, to enjoy this moment, really, rather than the characters themselves. But anyway, so like he goes on like I was too harsh on him. It's my fault. My fault. And like I said, we get another shot of the 3 dogs, and we see him when he's a lot younger. And by that point, you know for a fact that this is indeed Grisha's dad. And so the dude just like goes like, ah! He's like screaming and everything, and and then the doctors come in there, tell him don't wander off, and they like apologize to Aaron, and that we only left him, that we only looked away from him for like only a moment, and then they take him away and tell him everything's gonna be okay and everything. So then after that, we are now with this big, swanky little party over here, this fancy party. Everyone got on their best dress suits, drinking wine and everything. And then we see that Falco, Gabby, and the other 2 are the waiters. They're legit the waiters / butlers, if you want to call them, making sure everyone gets their drinks refilled, taking care of their plates, all that shit. So then Gabby's like, alright, this ain't the time for chit-chat. We've already trained for this. We've trained to not just stand here. Move it! So then it becomes straight rad too, where they're all just like running around, grabbing plates, filling up wine glasses, grabbing wine glasses, the whole 9 years. You guys get this one scene where like Falco is, I guess, is in a wine cellar, and Gary's like, next one! And she just, like, the man like grabs like this wine bottle out of its box and just hands it to her like it's a fucking running play or something. But anyway, so they're going at, so they keep going at, and then we get this one scene where this one dude's like, oh, look at that, we got these filled-blooded urchins carrying the plates. Oh, that's where the stench of the food, that's where the stench of my food was coming from. And so Four Eyes, he obviously heard this, and it looks like the man got a little pissed off. He's like, I don't know if the man was actually going to call them out on it or anything like that, but then this man, like this Japanese woman wearing this nice kimono runs into him, and the wine spills on her kimono, and a decent chunk of it, I might add. The look on this man's face says it all. This was a look of a man that knew he has truly fucked up in life, and that he has regretted all of his life choices. This is the face of a man truly knows he is about to die. This is the face of a man where you would not be wrong if you thought this man shit himself 10 times in a row. So after he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then she just instantly grabs him and just tells him to shh, don't make a scene. And she's like, and the dude's just like confused on this whole thing. And then this other dude that's like there's like, is there a problem, madam? And he says, and she just grabs the dude, and then this dude's like shaking. She grabs the wine glass out of his hand and says like, oh, silly me, how embarrassing! I spilled this wine on my kimono, and this young man helped me try and clean it up. He's like, oh well, come this way, madam. And so she walks off. The dude is like probably counting all of his blessings. So then Falco and Gabby come in to check on him, make sure the dude doesn't just fucking die from like the stress he got, or from a heart attack he probably got from having to witness this unfold. But anyway, so he says he's fine, and we find out this woman is from like this country from the Orient or whatever. So I'm curious to see if that's going to mean anything. Like we're going to find out more about like where Mikasa's family comes from. Because remember, she's like the only Asian in the entire series that we've got in Attack on Titan is Mikasa. So I'm curious if there's going to be any correlation with that, but doubtful. We still don't even really know what relation she has with Levi. We never really got a straight answer out of that from season 3. But anyway, so anyway, after that we then see we almost forgot. So we then see this dude. So they're about to clean up and everything, and then this dude hits his wine glass like a fork or whatever, trying to get everyone's attention. He makes this toast, and so he goes on about how that we faced off an incredible war for 4 years, and that yesterday's enemies is today's enemies. And by this point, everyone in the audience is just shocked at what he just said. And then everyone looks like, and then as he keeps talking afterwards, they all look like they want to jump him. So then Willie comes in there and be like, "Oh, your joke was truly one of the ages," or some shit. And the dude's looking at him like, "What the fuck are you talking about my joke?" And so then he says, "Oh, but your diction didn't really resonate with him. Let me take over." So then he speaks. He tells them that that I understand about your hatred of the Eldians, and I can feel why you resent them so much. You want to eradicate them. This gives us tragedy after tragedy. It's an endless problem. Yada 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 yada. And then he'll give up this problem after the festival tomorrow. So after that, we then head over back to Gabby. She's sleeping, and then she just suddenly wakes up after hearing something outside, and she's like, "Nani!" And she's looking out their window. Then we see the festival's going on outside, and so you see all these food being cooked and some clowns and everything, the whole 9 yards. So then you have Falco and the other 3 coming in there and be like, "Gabby!" And they're like, and so then my man legitimately just after he tells us that there's this festival going on and everything, she legitimately just the dude was holding 2 ice cream cones. The man literally just shoves one of them into Gabby's face and just tells him, "Eat this!" I'm actually low-key surprised. I don't know if any of y'all felt this, but was anyone else low-key surprised there wasn't fan service right there? Because they so could have went in that direction if they really wanted to. But then again, to be fair, Attack on Titan hasn't really done much of any fan service, really. Or that wouldn't really fit either, unless you count that one scene with Mikasa training, and you get to see her abs and everything. If you count that as fan service, that's about it. That's about it we've gotten. But anyway, they're doing the festival. We see these kids work their magic of manipulation because they're all holding these empty bags. They all look sad, and then they all look over at Reiner. And so then he pays for everything as they're just enjoying all the food, including pizza. So I'm sure those kids love pizza. So anyway, afterwards, once the sun has set, Reiner is legitimately dragging Gabby as she's like, "Oh, my stomach hurts," and he's like, "Oh, you shouldn't have had one of everything." And she thinks that something big is going to happen. We've had a lot of firsts recently, and she thinks something big is going to happen. They're looking for Falco, wondering where he is. He eventually shows up. He asks him if he can show Reiner something. Zeke tells him they still got time. So he takes him down to this underground area, and I'm straight up getting some fucking female Titan reveal vibes right here. He leads him down to this underground room, and then that's where Reiner meets up with Eren, and that's where the episode fully ends before we get the next episode preview. So, yeah. Crazy ass ending to end this episode. Next week is definitely going to hit the fan next week, man. And I'm hyped. I don't know if we have to wait 2 weeks for the next episode or not. If we do, fuck me. If we don't, great. Hopefully we don't, because I need to know what's happening next. But anyway, man, that's where I'm going to end it here, man. Overall, I give this episode a 10 out of 10. So hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you liked what you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter if you like. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time. You